Okay, Joe Quenneville is now the Florida Panthers' new head coach. Bob Bugner, the now former Florida Panthers coach, was fired yesterday slash Sunday, April, was it the 7th or the 8th? And then as soon as that happened, there was talk, it was a foregone conclusion that Quenneville was going to be hired by Dave Tallon. Of course, there's a bit of a history there. But before we really dive into how it happened and where the Panthers are going to go next, I'll give you a little bit of history on Joe Quenneville. He's 60 years old right now. He's from Windsor, Ontario. He initially was a left shot defenseman who was drafted into the NHL 21st overall in the second round by the Toronto Maple Leafs back in 1978. Sort of hometown team, so to speak. Now, he played from 78 to 1991, starting with the Toronto Maple Leafs, where he spent a couple seasons, then the Colorado Rockies, where he spent a few seasons, then the New Jersey Devils, he spent one season there, and then he spent 7 seasons with the Hartford Whalers, and then he spent his last season in the NHL, one season, which was really only 9 games played. I don't know if he got injured or what, but at the age of 32 with the Washington Capitals. Now, his coaching career started with the St.LOUIS Blues, where he spent 8 years, which is kind of long. Feels like a long time nowadays for an NHL coach. And he did really well there. From 1996 to 2004, he had a record of 307 wins with them, 191 losses, 77 ties, that's when they still existed, and 18 overtime losses. In the playoffs, he was dead even 34-34. He went to the playoffs a lot with St. Louis. Now, while he was with them, he also won the Jack Adams Trophy for Coach of the Year, and that was back in 1999/2000 season, in which he took the St. Louis Blues to a 51 win, 19 losses, 11 ties, and 1 overtime loss for 114 points in the regular season. In the playoffs, that particular season, they were 3-4. They lost in the first round in 7 games to, I want to say, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I think that's when Curtis Joseph was still playing. Was he still playing for the St. Louis Blues, or he had gone to Toronto by then? I think he was still with the Blues. In any case, that Joseph was like in his prime in those years between the Blues and Toronto. But I digress. Getting back to his coaching career, he then went to the Colorado Avalanche, where he spent 3 years from 2005 to 2008. He had a record there of 131 wins, 92 losses, and 23 overtime losses, so not quite as good. He had a playoff record of 8-11. After that, he was hired by the Chicago Blackhawks by Dave Tallon himself. There's that connection there, where he spent 11 seasons from 2008 to 2019. He had a record of 452 wins, 249 losses, and 96 overtime losses. And in the playoffs, he was 76-52. Pretty good playoff record. Why? Well, because he won 3 cups with Chicago. The first one being in 2009-10. The second one in 2012-13. And the last one being in 2014-15. Of course, he was fired this season. I think it was back in, I want to say, November or something. Chicago started off really poorly. Obviously, we know they finished really strong down the stretch, but still missed the playoffs. And he's been having fun. There's been pictures of him at football games and such in Chicago and so on and so forth. He said he wanted to take some time, but was still interested in stepping back into coaching, into NHL coaching, with a team, not that was starting from scratch, but was at least established, was at least like sort of halfway there to contending. Maybe just needed some tinkering, because he's up there in age and didn't want to waste any time. So here comes Dave Tallon, a guy who he worked with before, who hired him in 2008. Side note, Dave Tallon was fired a year later after he hired Joel Quenneville, and they had a 101-point season. I always found that really bizarre because Dave Tallon, also helped draft players like, I want to say Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves and Brent Seabrook and Duncan Keith, Corey Crawford and Dustin Byfuglien and so on and so forth. He was really good at drafting players. And then, I should probably do a video on that, on Dave Tallon and his career and why he left Chicago, why he was fired, etc., etc. In any case, I digress. Moving on, how it happened now. There was talk over the last couple of months in the hockey world, especially with the insiders, the journalists, about how Bob Boughner could be on his way out in Florida. There was talk about Phil Housley at that time too, as well as a few other coaches. So they knew something might happen. And as soon as Tallon found out that Crawford was still interested in coaching, because there was that thing with Philly, where they said he might be hired already, and they got kiboshed. But in any case, Tallon spoke to the Chicago Blackhawks. They gave him permission to speak to him because he's still under contract to them for like another year. I want to say for about $6 million. So that as soon as Boughner was fired, they got right on that. They had a verbal agreement, and they signed him earlier today. Today's Monday, and what day is the date today? Today is the 8th, Monday, April 8th. Now, Vinny Viola, the owner of the Florida Panthers, he bought them a while ago. They've been losing money for a while. So basically it came to a point there, my cat's now lying at my feet, where he was like, okay, we either sell this team, because we're losing a lot of money. I don't know if you noticed, but Florida Panthers have one of the worst, if not the worst, attendance in the NHL for quite some time now. So he says, okay, well, we either sell this team and walk, or we just go all out. And this is him going all out. There's being rumors of them going after Panarin and Bobrovsky. We've heard that for a while from the Columbus Blue Jackets, because we know those guys are not signing back in Columbus. And there has been a lot of rumors about Panarin wanting to go play in a Sunshine State, because there were some pictures on Instagram with him and his buddies Andrei Vasilevsky and Andrei Vasilevsky and Nikita Kucherov on a beach, and he wanted to go somewhere, play near his pals and blah blah blah. So this is the next best thing, playing near them in the Sunshine Coast there, and so it's most people seem it's a foregone conclusion that Florida's going to sign him, and Bobrovsky maybe not quite as much. But they've come out and said they're going to be pretty much chasing him down hard. They're going after these two free agents especially. I know Jeff Skinner is also going to be a free agent. He'll probably re-sign with Buffalo. But in any case, they need to fix their goaltending big time. That's one of the biggest things, and their defense. Panarin is just kind of, a little icing on the cake for them. They have an amazing first two lines that can match up against almost any team in the NHL. Barkov is probably going to win the Selke this season, and he had, I think, he broke a record for he had a season high in points this year. After that, third, fourth line are a little bit suspect, but it's those bottom three D positions that they need to upgrade, and they need new structure, new team defensive structure, because Yandel, Matheson, and Ekblad have kind of regressed a bit, and they're like turnover machines. They always seem to be, in the past few seasons anyways, like the top, I want to say 10, all three of those guys, top 10, top 15 in giveaways in a season. Someone's mowing the lawn outside or something. I hear a noise. Anyways, so that's important. And look at Hoffman. They just got him from Ottawa / San Jose. He had a career year as well. He scored a lot of goals. I want to say close to 40, just under 40, maybe 38 or so. But he's really bad defensively. Like I want to say he's a minus 20 something, minus 25 on the season. So that team really needs some structure. And then, of course, there's rumors that Luongo has just said today that he wasn't sure about if he was going to retire or not up until today. And then he said today that he wouldn't mind staying on, and he'd be happy to take like a backup role, which would be interesting. I mean, because he gets injured so often and because of his age, et cetera, et cetera. Backup role, a veteran guy like that would be terrific in the room. The guys already know him. He'd be terrific for a new goalie. And he's a guy who knows his place. So, and then if they go out and sign it, like let's say Bobrovsky, or maybe even there's rumors about, Jonathan Quick leaving L.A., Luongo would be a perfect backup there. And then Reimer, it looks like they're going to buy him out. I think they both have another year left, another 2 years left on their contract, both Luongo and Reimer. And Luongo, he was thinking about retiring / putting him on the long-term injured reserve list because of his weird contract and the penalty the Canucks would have, and Florida, the Vancouver Canucks and Florida would have to pay because of it, and I won't get into that. But in any case, there you have it. There's the gambit of it all. As a Leaf fan, I hate this because Coach Quenneville is going into the Atlantic Division now. And finally he could drag that team over the hump, especially with the free agency coming, and there's going to be another competitive team. It's already so competitive. Tampa Bay, Boston, Toronto. It's too many. Everyone's just got to chill. I will be putting out a lot of videos today. I'll be putting out a season-ending team stat video, a season-ending player stat video, and I'll also be doing some playoff previews that'll be coming out as well. Today's going to be a busy day. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about Florida and this coach, this new signing, and what they might do in the offseason. I'd like to hear what you'd like to have to say about that. And if you like this video, hit that like button. If you really liked it, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you happen to have any Hockey Geek friends, please don't feel shy about sharing. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.